It out in the flat to Barkley, who beats one man, spins past another, leaps over a third, and comes down at the 30.
What was that? I've never seen that move, and I've been watching football all my life. No one's ever done this. He hurdles a guy backwards. How do you jump over a guy backwards?
He did.
It was the best play I've ever seen. It was unbelievable. I can't say enough.
Sirianni's right. It was absolutely unbelievable. Shannon, how impressive is what Saquon did, that hurdle on the field?
Man, look, I was in the league. I'm only a year behind Barry, and I got the opportunity to see Barry his entire career. We played him on a Thanksgiving, and Stephen A., you know, back in the 90s, D.O., you know this also. Come Thanksgiving, the Detroit Lions played well. They might lose all their games up until Thanksgiving, but they were going to put on the show at home for those fans come Thanksgiving. This was as great a play that I've seen a running back make in all my years, and I can go back probably 40-plus years of watching, 42, 43, 45 years of watching the game. When he did it, did he really show this again? Because maybe my TV glitched. For a man to spin, he put a great move here, spin, and then he hurdles the guy backwards. Basically said, kiss my butt. Y'all so bad out here, kiss my butt. I don't even want to look at you. I don't even want you to look in my eyes because you're unworthy of looking me eye to eye. So I'm going to turn my back to you, hurdle you, because that's what I think of you. That is as good a play. I don't know how how many plays you think there in the rest of the year. 10,000, 15,000 plays, you're going to be hard pressed to find. At the honors, that's play of the year. I don't care about any catch. I don't care about anything else. At the honors, that play right there will win play of the year.
S.A.?
I'm not going to go that far. I mean, it was spectacular.
What?
I loved it.
It's such a freaking
I loved it. I loved it. Molly, honestly speaking, I'm going to be critical and I'm going to be harsh with you. We don't want to hear from you about anything with Saquon Barkley because all you do is use it as an opportunity to remind us that he was formerly a Giant. They gave up on him. They don't deserve to be mentioned. Every time you bring up Saquon Barkley, it's always about the Giants. If you left him alone and just lived on him being an Eagle, I would care. But I don't care to hear from you about Saquon because you keep reminding us that he was with the Giants. And he couldn't do that when he was with the Giants because he had no help.
He hurdled a grown man backwards in the middle of a play.
It was absolutely phenomenal, yes. But so was Garrett Wilson. So was Garrett Wilson's play as well. I'm looking at that. That's all I'm saying about that. But that was a sensational play. It was spectacular. We all know what Saquon Barkley could do, which is why we were excited for the Philadelphia Eagles when they acquired him because we knew what a game changer he would be. And sure enough, that play is just emblematic of what this brother is capable of. He is something special.
Yeah. I'm the least athletic person out of the four of us, so don't ask my opinion.
Well, that's a lie.
No, I'm not. I don't even understand how he would even think about doing it.
But you don't practice that. That's why I think
Exactly.
that's why I think that's so much more impressive even than a one-handed catch because no one's practicing that. That's just in the moment.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea how someone even thinks about doing it, let alone does it. I mean, it's one of the most impressive things physically that I have ever seen in my life. But on a more serious note, I firmly put him in the MVP conversation now. After what he's done this past month, and certainly what he did yesterday, he is firmly in the MVP race.
Shannon, do you co-sign?
Yeah, but here's the thing, Stephen A. You can make a case that Devontae Smith one-handed catch was equally as impressive as Garrett Wilson. But I ask you this, was Garrett Wilson's catch more impressive than Odell's that he made on Sunday night against the Cowboys? Because we've seen college kids make outstanding one-handed catch over the middle for touchdowns. Tell me the time you've ever seen this play practiced in a game. Tell me the time you've heard about somebody hurdling someone backwards.
No, I haven't seen it.
But do you like him in the MVP race? Do you like him firmly entrenched in the MVP race now?
Well, I certainly, but I felt that way beforehand because I think with the exception of one game, the Eagles win practically every game because of this guy. This guy is absolutely sensational, and it's an indictment against those New York Giants for paying Daniel Jones instead of him and for sitting there and telling them go test the free agent market and what have you. So it's really unfortunate. And another thing that I think is worthy of bringing up, since we're bringing up Saquon Barkley and how terrific he is,
yeah,
that means there's two teams There's two running backs that were on the market that the Dallas Cowboys should consider. Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley.
Both MVP candidates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both MVP
Yeah.
candidates.
They passed up on both.
We're going to leave it
They
there.
passed up on both.
But Shannon, I'm with you. Just the fact that you never practice that, it's in the middle
I
of
can't
a play.
understand it.
It's just
No,
unreal.
you practice a lot of things, Molly.
Yeah.
Dan can attest to this. Quarterbacks throwing the ball 42-4 into a trash can or trying to hit the goalpost from 50 yards away. Guys practice being accurate. That's not something you can practice because you don't know if it's going to happen or when it's going to happen.
Yep.
That's just an instinctive play.
Yeah.
Fellas, my man Charlie Mack, he's great friends with obviously with Will Smith. This dude just sent me a text. Said Saquon Barkley, that's the newest version of sitting on top of the world. He's talking about Saquon Barkley, but he said this highlight right there. That's the newest image of sitting on top of the world.
There we go. There we go. All right.
Stephen A., what do you know about Charlie Mack?
Oh, that's my brother right
You
there.
know Will Smith had a song about Charlie Mack. Every time we go downtown to a show, we got two necessities, Charlie Mack and the limo.
Charlie Mack and I go back 30 years. 30 years.
The week was at Lambeau between the Lions and the Packers, but Green Bay never really in it as Detroit raced out to an early lead and eventually prevailed 24-14 against the NFC North rivals. The Lions are 7-1, looking like the best team in the NFC. Here's Dan Campbell.
I know this. I'm not shocked one bit that we came out here and played pretty good football out in the elements. That we're built for this, man, and it doesn't matter. And just because we play indoors, it doesn't matter. I mean, we can play anywhere. We can play in the snow, we can play in the rain, we can play in the mud. That's just us, and we're built to win, man.
All right, Dan, Detroit Lions. You know something about them. Best team in football?
I don't know these Detroit Lions. Trust me. Yeah, I think they're the best team in football. Yes. That's obviously a tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for what Kansas City's doing. Here's the question when you go up against Detroit, you have to ask, can we score 30 against them? You got to outscore them. I think this offense is, Shannon, you know this as a football guy. How do you stop this run game and this pass game? You want them listen to I think it's one of the most absurd stats I've ever heard in my life. Jared, it's November what? 6, 7, something like that?
4th.
It's November 4th.
Yeah.
Jared Goff has not thrown an incompletion to Amon-Ra St. Brown since September. He's completed his last 30 pass attempts to Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's nuts.
This week 3.
That's nuts. They've scored 195 points in their last 5 games. They've outscored their opponents by 100 in their last 5. You got to go score. And so the question is, who do we realistically think, and I think they're going to trade for Zadarius Smith, can go outscore them if it gets to a shootout? I think Philadelphia is capable of it because they can be so explosive on offense. I think if the Rams are healthy enough, they can do it. I think Washington, if they play flawlessly on offense, can do it. Outside of that, I actually think Green Bay matches up well. They got to get better weather amounts. I just think the way that this team offensively operates, you got to score 30 to beat them, and not that many teams are capable of doing it.
Stephen A?
You're right about that, but let me throw a couple of other stats at you, Dan, that I know you're going to use for NFL Live and wherever else you go. You're going to hold on to this, so let me help you out here, okay?
Okay, let me get my pencil.
7-1 Lions off to their best 8-game start since 1956. That's number one. Number two, do you know that they're 27-8 in the regular season, dating back to the halfway point of the 2022 season?
They were Stephen A., what were they at that 20? They were like 1-6, 1-7 halfway through?
About 1-6, and they are 27-8 since that time. Here's my favorite stat to throw at you, Dan, because you brought up Jared Goff with Amon-Ra St. Brown, all right? During the Lions' 6-game winning streak that they're on, Goff has the highest completion percentage at 82.8% and passer rating at 140.1 for any quarterback in any 6-game span in NFL history. History. That's what we're talking about. So I don't want to hear anybody argue with me when I say that Jared Goff is the MVP. I don't want to hear that right now. This is not the week. Now, you can come, Shannon. You can come, D.O. You can come to me a few weeks from now. I don't want to hear it today. I don't want to hear it today. Not when we see what this man has been doing over these last 6 weeks. If the MVP were today, Jared Goff has to get MVP. Oh, by the way, they got dual running backs in Montgomery and Gibbs, chucking up yards. And oh, by the way, The Packers outgained them by 150 yards yesterday, 411 to 261. And they still lost by double digits. Now, Jordan Love throwing an interception in every single game he's played this season might have something to do with it. I get that part. But somehow, some way, with the Lions playing outdoors in inclement weather on the road for the first time all season long, showed up and handled their business. Am I going to sit up there and say they're the best team in the National Football League? The only reason I'm going to say no is because, damn it, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. And he's got Kansas City's defense backing him up. I get that part. But right now, there is no question they're the best team in the NFC. There is no question they should be the favorites to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. And nobody can summarily dismiss the possibility that the Motor City, Motown, can end up with a Super Bowl champion at the end of this season, considering what we're seeing from them and what we saw from them in the NFC Championship game last year, where all they had to do was run the football in the second half, and they probably would have been in the Super Bowl last year.
Dan, you mentioned Philadelphia. I don't know if Philadelphia can beat them without A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is going to need to be monitored the rest of the season because he ended up leaving this game again after just coming back from an injury. So that bears watching out. Yes, if they have A.J. Brown with Devontae Smith making plays, Saquon Barkley is playing out of his mind. He's playing the best football since his rookie year. He might be playing even better, especially when you factor in that spectacular move that he had yesterday. But when you look at, you say Jared Goff, and Stephen, it's hard for me to make an argument for anybody else's MVP, but Lamar Jackson was perfect yesterday. Do you know what perfection is in the NFL? That's when you have your quarterback position.
I saw them playing against the Denver Broncos, which I warned you about. I saw them playing against the Denver Broncos, your Denver Broncos, which I warned you about. I warned you that they were what you thought they were.
Hold on. Didn't Denver beat the Jazz? Denver's beating a lot of good teams, Stephen A. I'm not saying they world beaters. They're not the 97-98 Broncos, but they're not Carolina. They're not New Orleans.
That's fine, but I told Shannon Sharpe, a.k.a. Shay, that those brothers wasn't going to roll up into Baltimore with a rookie quarterback and do something. I told you that, and you wouldn't listen.
Yeah, he missed some. Yeah, but he missed some throws early. But the thing that I love about the Lions is that the thing that you normally have on knock on a team, especially when they play indoors, when they go outside and they face inclement weather. Well, you saw the weather. It's not going to get much. Now, could it get colder? Absolutely. But you saw the torrential rain coming down, blowing sideways, gusts up to 43 miles an hour, and it had no impact on their ability to move the ball. And when they needed to get scores, they got scores. And when they needed to convert on third down, they converted on third down. Yes, and they made Green Bay pay for every mistake that they made. Joseph made a great play. He was trying to set up a screen. He didn't see him in between. He was between the linebackers and the offensive line, and he made a great play. The Lions are for real. Now, in order to beat them, you better hope Jared Goff turns the football over multiple times. He's done a great job. He has probably more touchdown passes than incompletions over his last 5 to 6 games, which is unbelievable stat because one game he was 18 of 18, another game he was 22 of 25.